Hey, Realistic Randy here, Mediocre Best Podcast. Thanks for watching or listening on iTunes. As a reminder, you can subscribe on YouTube, iTunes. We'll have the little emblems up here to help you out with that. But Adrian Peterson is an unrestricted free agent. This is not a surprise to anyone. We should have all expected this. He was not going to get that $18 million on his contract for the end of his for last year of his deal. And to be honest, and before I get into the extra element of things as far as outside of football, let me start with the football side of things. This is no longer Adrian Peterson's offense. This is Sam Bradford's offense. If Teddy was still here, I'd say the same thing. This would be Teddy's offense. We're in a league now of the National Football League where you have to have the quarterback has to be your primary focus. They have to be. Adrian Peterson on the football side of things. First of all, Kevin Seifert of ESPN summed it up beautifully in an article he wrote on ESPN.com, saying that 95% of Adrian Peterson's carries comes from when the quarterback is under center. So single back formation, what have you. We're in a league now where it's shotgun formation for more often than not, and it's pass happy. So Adrian Peterson, first of all, he's a two-down running back. He's not an all-around running back. He's a deep. I understand the narrative, and before I continue, I'm not here to bash Adrian Peterson. I saw him rush for 296 yards against the Chargers. I saw him do miraculous things. He's one of the greatest Minnesota Vikings of all time. But sticking on the football side of things, with Pat Shurmur's offense, Adrian Peterson is a two-down running back. His style of play, you can find running backs like Adrian Peterson. They come a dime a dozen where all they do is run the football. He can't really do anything else at least an average level. He's not really good at, to say not really good is an understatement. He's not good at pass protection, and he's not a fluid receiver such as Le'Veon Bell or LaShawn McCoy, which is why they're worth the contracts of whatever contracts that they get. Even if Le'Veon Bell, he's probably going to get a big contract from the Steelers if he hasn't already. I haven't paid attention. LaShawn McCoy, if he has a big I don't know his contract, but if he has a big contract, he deserves it because they're both multifaceted running backs. Ezekiel Elliott is the same. He can pass protect and catch as a receiver as well outside of run the football. Adrian Peterson is really only good at running the football. And I've heard year after year, and I believed it too, as far as the narrative that Adrian Peterson, he's a great decoy for play action. It will open things up because it will suck the defense in. But let's be honest, because the defense, everyone's aware now that if Adrian Peterson is out there, we know he's going to be out there first, second down, third down, unless it's third and a half inch or a yard. He's not going to be out there. Everyone knows that's watching TV, especially Vikings fans, and the defense knows that he's going to get the football. So it makes the Vikings offense very, very predictable. Now, last year was an anomaly. Well, not an anomaly, because was Andrew Kramer, he used to work for 1500 ESPN. I'm not sure. I believe he's with the Star Tribune now in Minneapolis. I'm not sure. He came up with the famous phrase, Adrian Peterson is famine, feast, where he basically 5 straight plays or 3 straight plays, however many times he carries the ball, he's basically going to get a yard here, maybe minus 2 yards, a loss of a yard here, 3 yards here, and then he'll bust off a run for like 70 yards, and you look at his average runs per carry, and it looks like 5 yards a carry. It's like, oh, this is fantastic. But he's not a consistent running back where he's going to get you those 3 or 4 yards every single carry. Now, last year, I'm not naive. We had one of the worst offensive lines in football last year. I think we had the worst offensive line in football last year, and that's where Rick Spielman and the front office needs to focus on this free agency period. If you can bring back Adrian Peterson for a bargain, maybe that. I personally wouldn't bring him back just because he's very predictable. He makes the Vikings offense very predictable. And even if you try to do a play action or try to, pass the ball while he's out there, he's basically one less player, and he's going to make your quarterback more susceptible to getting hurt. Sam Bradford made it through the entire year last year, in large part because of the extra efforts that he got from Jerick McKinnon and Matt Asiata. Now, Matt Asiata is a free agent now. I'm not sure if he signed somewhere else. Actually, free agency doesn't start till the 9th, I believe. But he's going to be gone. Jerick McKinnon is going to be there. But they are really good at pass protection. Having Adrian Peterson out there, if you're going to open up the passing game, he's going to – if you got an edge rusher that's beating your left or right tackle, wherever it is, whichever side you have Adrian Peterson lined up, there's a good chance that your quarterback may take a good hit because Adrian Peterson's not that good at pass protection. So he's a liability at that. And going into the and look, he believes he said it publicly. I've earned my contract. I'm worth this. I'm worth that. And he went on First Take saying, I want to go to these teams, or I wouldn't mind if I was on the Bucks. What did he say? The Bucks, the Texans, the Giants. I can't remember who he said. But the extra element of Adrian Peterson, this is why, look, I understand how great of a Viking that he is. He's one of the greatest Vikings of all time. And this goes into the extra element of Adrian Peterson. Again, I'm not here to bash Adrian Peterson. I'm just calling it like I see it. What was it? 2014, when the off-the-field issues happened as far as the switch incident and everything like that. He took a lot of backlash and everything like that. And that's understandable. He went too far with it. My only issue with the whole outrage that he was getting from everybody, well, not everybody. If this doesn't apply to you, then don't be offended, all right? Like just take it easy. But the whole switch thing has been going on forever. Children have been disciplined by switches forever. In fact, I wrote an article about it not too long after it happened. I believe it was the University of North Carolina in Chapel Hill wrote an article about explaining how common disciplining children with switches are. So for people to act like they didn't know it happened, and if you don't know, if you never knew it happened until then, that's one thing. But for everyone that knew about the whole switch incidents that happens time and time again throughout the course of history and up to this day, it's probably happening right now. The fact that it took Adrian Peterson for people to get outraged about it is what really it was a little bit hypocritical for me, but I'm not going to rehash that. I wrote an article about it on sportsblog.com. You can look it up. But the way he acted after that, as far as sending his agent Ben Dogra out there to publicly bash the Vikings supported this guy through and through. In fact, they took a lot of heat because they were saying we're going to let the investigation play out before we suspended him. Then the Vikings got backlash, and then they did it for business purposes. Now, Adrian Peterson, yes, he went too far, but he should have handled the after effect after. Him having Ben Dogra go out there and tweet photos of himself with a Buccaneers hat, with a Viking, or with an Adrian Peterson jersey saying game on, and him talking to Kevin Seifert saying, my client is not in his best interest to go back to Minnesota. Why would it be? I think it was just completely disrespectful because he had fans like myself and other fans that still supported him saying, you know what, you went too far. It's something, I'm not going to act shocked that that a switch incident happened because it's happening right now. But the fact that it took Adrian Peterson for people to get outraged for it is another story. But him saying, I deserve this and I deserve that. And it's like, wait a minute. You've been out. You haven't been playing in a while. Basically, the last 3 years, he's played, 18 games total? And then 2015 to 16, he had a good year. But 16 to 17, he was out. He was hurt. So he's susceptible to injury, and all football players are susceptible to injury. I get that. But the immature way that he handled things, and then going out on First Take saying, well, I can see, while you're still technically under contract, saying, well, I can see myself playing here or there, and thinking that you can still do this and that. You're just good at running the football, Adrian Peterson. I'm not trying to bash you, okay? You're just good at running the football. He's been in the league for 10 years now? He's had plenty of opportunities to work on his pass protection, to work on his receiving skills, and then not to mention the fumbling issues he's had time and time again. 2009 NFC Championship game and the 2015 playoff game, or 2016 playoff game against the Seattle Seahawks before Blair Walsh just missed a layup kick, but I'm not going to rehash that. Adrian Peterson fumbles the ball. He'll put the ball on the ground at the most inopportune times. So he's had how many times have we heard in the offseason, oh, he's going to work on this, we're working on these drills and everything, and he comes back and he still fumbles the football. So I think it's time to move on. We can find running backs come a dime a dozen. Now, if he goes to a team like the Oakland Raiders or the Dallas Cowboys and he splits time with Ezekiel Elliott, which I think would just be ridiculous, I think you need to commit to Ezekiel Elliott. But if he goes to a team with a great offensive line, he's going to kick ass. He might lead the league in rushing if he goes to the Oakland Raiders where he's the primary back. Good for him. But as far as this if you're a team that operates more often than not out of the shotgun formation, are you willing to change up your entire offense? Because that's what you're going to have to do, because he's not comfortable in the shotgun formation. 95% of his carries have came out of the single back formation, or when the quarterback is lined up under center, I formation, what have you. Are you willing to change your whole offense for him? If so, good for you. Go for it. But we'll see. I would expect the Vikings to move on. This is Sam Bradford's offense. We need to invest. We've got about $40 million in cap space. The Vikings do. We need to invest in an offensive lineman, real offensive lineman, not just patchwork offensive lineman. So we'll have to see what happens in free agency. Mediocre at Best podcast, Realistic Randy. Subscribe on YouTube, iTunes. Send a tweet at realistic_Randy. We do this once a week. We'll see you next week.